We out here grinding, going on a walk, frozen lake, ice fishermen. So, December, I'm warm. It looks like it's cold out, and it is. But when you're properly prepared, then you're fine. Now, my lips are a little numb, so as I talk, my lips don't really move that much. I mean, they do, but they don't function the same as if they were warm. And that's okay, because the rest of my body is plenty warm. Like, literally, my nose is not even running. I've been out here walking for a long time. Now, if just the skin on my face is cold, I'm surprised that my nose isn't running, but it's not. Got some gloves. My hands are not cold whatsoever. In fact, they're a little warm. If anything, the only thing that has any bit of cold are my legs. But in the reality of how I'm feeling, the coolness in my legs actually feels good. Well, for one, because I'm walking and so I'm creating heat within my body. But two, because I've got two thick sweaters on. One is, they're both like that type of material, which is like this fleecy, woolly thing. And then I got this big, thick winter jacket that is made for snowboarding, and it deflects the wind. So they're literally damn near close is no wind going through to my midsection, except for just a little skin exposed, which is what you can see here. A little bit of rosacea, if that's what it's called. A little rosiness in the cheeks, but that's okay. It feels pretty good. And you know what? The air feels great. It feels refreshing in my lungs. Getting this nice walk in. So, what I want to talk about today is the fact that if we are prepared, then we greatly reduce the chances of misdemeanors, you might say, discrepancies, or accidents. Now, life is life, and accidents will happen no matter what, no matter how prepared you may be. Things happen. It's called life. Shit happens, you know? It's like Forrest Gump when he gets that t-shirt and he puts it over his face and it's a smiley face. And it's like, shit happens, you know? You just gotta smile. And you know what? If you're prepared, it's not as bad as it could have been. But here's the thing. If you're prepared and shit happens anyways, well, you just know that it could have been worse. Like if you were not prepared and, I don't know, something bad happens, and due to not prepared, it was worse. That's all I'm trying to say. It's not that, nothing too profound, but I mean, the fact of the matter is that most of the saving grace in life is not some deep and complexing, deeply reflective, take a lot of introspection type of things. it's always like very basic, common sense laws of nature things. It's like if you're freezing, it's very simple. It's not necessarily the cold's fault. The cold is going to do what the cold is going to do. If you live in Minnesota, there's a good chance that in the wintertime it's going to be cold. And it's not new information. It's common sense, right? It's common sense that it's going to be cold in Minnesota. Because that's what Minnesota is known for. And so if you're in Minnesota, especially if you live here, I can understand it if you don't live here, lack of preparedness. But if you do live here and you don't go outside because it's cold, well, it's not that difficult to prepare. I mean, I could have gotten even more prepared and overdid it, and simply being outside without walking, I would still probably start sweating. You know, if I put a face mask on, and if I just put like a pair of snow pants on, or maybe an additional layer of sweatpants on, accompanied with maybe a wind-breaking pair on the outside. Because then really all that heat just gets locked inside and you get warm. And you know what? When you get warm like that, it feels good to have that cool air. You know, so it's like a contrast. It's that preparation really is the key. And so organizing is one means of preparation. You just got to get organized. Organize your life. Organize your physical spaces. Organize, believe it or not, your mental spaces. Organize the way that you think. And that's not quite as simple, but if you really just do a little introspection, because if you want to organize your mind, you got to do some introspection, maybe a little reflection. And at the end of the day, it's really not complicated. It's just something you got to think about. It's not quite the same as organizing a pile of books, perhaps alphabetically or perhaps by genre, which might actually be equally difficult, you know, because you got to think about, you know, you got to look at the book and like determine what genres there are and what genres these books are. And sometimes a book might be considered multiple genres. Like if it's a philosophical novel, it's like, do you put that in philosophy or do you put that in novels? So that starts to get a little complicated. However, organizing your mind, you know, all you have to do really is analyze emotions. And there are potentially a lot of emotions. However, the fact of the matter is that a person only experiences a handful of emotions on a regular basis. You know, there are predominant emotions. You don't have to get into like a list of 30 emotions. There's like 6. You know, people experience just a handful each day, and typically day by day by day by day, week by week, month by month, a human being experiences the same emotions over and over and over and over again. And so, if you want to organize your mind, you gotta just take a few days, potentially. You don't even have to. If you are an introspective person by nature, which maybe not all people are, but you can just do take an hour and do an assessment over like what are your emotions on a regular basis. And it's not difficult if you're like, well, I don't know what types of emotions there are. There's this thing called Google, or even better yet, ChatGPT. Just go on ChatGPT and be like, what are the most common emotions that a human being feels on a regular basis? And if you want to get even more specific, put in your location, and you could get even more specific and just get a little more detailed about who you are, and you could give it like, a little bit of your personality, and when you do that, it could give you your own personalities, your own emotions, and it would probably be pretty close to accurate. It'll probably be like, hey, I want to know what the top 10 emotions are that I feel on a yearly basis, because I'm trying to organize my mind. And you know what? It's going to give you, seriously, I don't think people realize how simple life really has become due to the technology. I mean, you could even ask it for book recommendations, and you might just consider emotional intelligence. There's a book called Emotional Intelligence. In fact, there are many books. So ask ChatGPT what is the best book on emotional intelligence, and it'll probably give you a list of a few. And you just go and pick one. And you know what? By the time you're finished reading that book, if you apply what's in that book, there's a likely chance that it has helped you organize your mind, because it helps you figure out how to think more clearly. And that's essentially what organizing your mind really is. It's learning how to think in a way that you are in control of your life. So now, as I'm sitting here holding my phone with this hand, my hand got a little chilly, so I was switching to the other hand. And this hand is just going to start warming up. I think what the reasoning behind that would be is because my hands are flexing, to a minor degree, but it tightens up the muscle just enough to where the blood doesn't flow quite as well. And so the hand begins to get a little bit chillier. Now, these gloves that I'm wearing are quite thin, and they don't do a lot to hold in the heat. They're great for driving. They're great for a walk like this if the rest of your body is clothed well enough. If I was wearing a sweatshirt and a thin pair of pants, and I was out here with these gloves on, there's a likely chance that my hands would be really cold right now, because of the rest of my body is not warm enough. So it's all about preparation. Now, there are gloves out there that are made to keep your hands a lot warmer, especially if I were to be digging around this snow with my hands. And now, if I were to be running out in the snow and I were to wear these shoes, my feet would not be staying warm. They'd be cold as hell. That's ironic, because hell is, well, according to most people's probably idea that hell is burning fire. That's why it's ironic, because, well, if my feet were cold enough, they actually feel hot. They feel like they're burning. That could potentially be called freeze or burn. Anyways, I came out here prepared, and you know what? Now my right hand is warm already, believe it or not. That only took a second for blood to flow. And my left hand is holding my phone now. That's getting cold. Very crazy. Anyways, Why do my, see, I can't even like move my lips enough. I was gonna say, why do my lips look so pink? And as I was looking at the camera, becoming more mindful of the movement of my lips, I started to realize that I can't really shape my lips in order to make certain pronunciation clear, in order to block the air in a specific way, to enunciate with precision. See, saying the word precision, now it may sound clear, but I'm using extra effort to say the word. So, not that it makes much difference or matters at all, but the fact of the matter is observance. Observing the reality around you. That is what I'm talking about. Mindfulness. It's called organizing your life. Do not be a victim of randomness. Organize your life. We do not need to self-perpetuate hardship into our lives. If we do that, there's a likely chance that we live a victim mentality. There's a likely chance that we are living a scarcity mentality, where we blame outside circumstances for our problems. We do not look at our life as our own responsibility. And that is one of the greatest diseases of the mind. We were born onto this earth, and it is up to us to get the things that we want in our life. It's not going to be the government that gives us our dreams. The government doesn't know our dreams. They may have an idea of a collective human being's dream, which is fine, but our individual, unique personality has a dream. We love something. We love either community or maybe not so much. We love to be, well, we're introverted or we're extroverted. If you've ever taken your personality test, you'll know that you are a very unique individual. You are not just a random human like everyone else. You are a unique human, just like everyone else. And we are very beautiful in our uniqueness. So, it's a beautiful lake. It's very unique. There are fish swimming in this lake right now. And the placement of the fish in the water is a great example of how random ass you motherfucking are. You are so random. The way that this snow has been pushed off of the trail and is lining up along the side is perfect randomness. You could not have placed it there to look so perfectly random. The sticks, the footprints, the leaves, the snowballs, the tree. Well, some of these trees may have been strategically kept, but there's that leaf that was so random That is complete randomness. And our personalities are completely random. And it's up to us as the individual to determine who we are amongst the randomness. And it is also very random for the people of this earth to dissect and look into themselves and see who they are. And it is even more rare for the person who introspects their life to organize their life in a way that creates inevitable success, which does not have anything to do with money. Well, it does, but ultimately what it has to do with is a person who is happy, who wakes up in the morning not necessarily happy, but they wake up in the morning knowing that they're in control and that they can do what they want to do. Anyways, back at my